Another thing that can be done is porcelain veneers. Porcelain veneers are a thin shell of porcelain that's made to fit over your teeth. Sometimes they can wrap in between the teeth, but usually they're laid over the front of the teeth. If it went all the way around the tooth, then it would technically be a crown. But these are very thin. Now this set right here is actually a set of my non-prep veneers. What's a non-prep veneer? Well, it's a shell of porcelain that's put over the front of your teeth, but we don't have to take your tooth down. So it's very thin. It's kind of like a fake fingernail, and you can actually see light through it. You can see the darkness of my gloves showing through it. So it's very thin, but we were able to make these teeth longer, but I didn't have to take the tooth down. So these veneers just slip right over the front of the teeth. A veneer differs from a crown in that the veneer is just on the front. Sometimes it wraps in between the teeth, depending on if you have space there or not. Or if you have a crowded situation where we're trying to make the teeth look more straight, sometimes we'll wrap them in between to get more proportion. But generally they go over the front of the teeth, whereas a crown wraps all the way around the tooth, so more of the tooth has to be reduced in order for that to happen. But these veneers, the non-prep veneers, are ultra conservative. They're the kind of veneers I try to do, especially on younger people. I've done these on my son-in-law, two of my children, and they work really great and they look really great. So they are very nice, and you're not changing the tooth. So technically, at some point, if these ever had to be removed, and I haven't gotten to that point yet, but if they ever did, then they could be taken off and the teeth would be like they were before we started. Porcelain veneers are cared for just like your teeth. Again, brushing and flossing is critical. Where the veneer meets the tooth up at the gum line is very minimally, but there's a seam there. We will polish that. We will make it as flush as we can, but bacteria will tend to collect in those areas, just like at a crown. So you want to try to keep them very clean at the gum line. You want to floss in between, and you want to avoid biting into hard objects. Another thing I found on veneers, I've had a couple of people that have popped them off eating French bread, where they're tearing the bread and putting a twisting motion on the veneer, and it pops the bond. Hasn't happened a lot, but it has happened a few times. So I tell people, do as the French do. They tear their French bread and eat it instead of trying to rip it with their teeth. But any kind of using your teeth as tools or a torquing motion could damage a veneer, but generally, I've had many of them that just pop off and then we can just rebond them back on.